listening to Spicy Thoughts, a piquant philosophical podcast with your host, Devin Steele, together with co-hosts Joshua Guldan and Samson Lancaster. Today's topic: what is philosophy and who cares?
Today we're going to be talking about what philosophy is, what it means to each of us, and why anyone ought to care, if anyone ought to care, in the first place. We're also going to be imbibing some delicious hot sauce. For Samson and I, we will be sampling the Tabasco scorpion sauce.
Smells good.
It smells fantastic. And Josh is going to be diving into Louisiana sauce.
Louisiana,
if you will.
That's one of my favorites, by the way.
I might be doing some other sauces as well, because kind of hot ones myself instead of. But I'm doing like all completely different ones from what they're doing, because I don't have the high level of tolerance. But we'll see after this. Maybe this will level me up. Yeah, we'll get you leveled up next episode, to the Spice Lord status, if you will.
Yeah, we'll all get there eventually, but got to start somewhere. Mm-hmm. And after all, the spiciness is a secondary matter. The most important thing that we're going to be talking about is the philosophy. The spice is just for fun and flavor as well. So I'm going to dive right in to a scorpion one real quick. Y'all gentlemen are welcome to join me.
Join in some hot sauce.
At your leisures.
That smells good.
Not bad.
That's good. I like it.
It was good. So we'll be re-upping on the spice throughout, so that we're nice and overheated while having our conversations.
Another one while we're waiting.
That's a great idea. Thank you. So, what is philosophy? I think for every person that is alive right now, if you ask that question, you'll get a different answer, at least slightly. We should point out from the beginning, this is the inaugural episode, so things are going to be a little bit slapdash. Things are going to be a little bit awkward.
And a little spicy.
We're growing and we're getting there. A lot of it spicy. But we are all laymen, all three of us. We're not professional philosophers. We might want to start with just talking about our backgrounds in philosophy, though, if we have one. I, for example, I'll go first. I am an undergraduate student in philosophy as well as psychology, so I have a little bit of officialness that's not just browsing the internet, but barely. So still a layman for sure.
Well, I've dabbled as a teenager whilst smoking the devil's lettuce. That's foreshadowing for later episodes. With like my friends and my family and stuff. Philosophy, I have no degrees. I have not even taken any classes. I barely read the source material for any of these episodes. But I do have strong feelings about stuff and things. And I feel like it's just good for the, I can't find a better word for it right now, but it's sort of good for the soul, if such a thing exists. I mean, it's probably something we might talk about later, but just to philosophize, and especially just what's going on in the world today. I want to hang out with you guys and discuss things while my face is on fire, which surprisingly this sauce is actually it's hotter than what I'm usually just putting on my. All
right, Josh, what about you?
I personally am like a philosopher myself to a certain degree, but I am not in any formal education whatsoever. All of mine is just talking to people throughout the Midwest, really. And I did door-to-door politics for a while, and politics kind of leads to philosophy and to theology and stuff like that, with a large portion of people around Madison, Wisconsin, which we are 77 square miles surrounded by reality. So I come from a very different universe than possibly other human beings. But I've definitely been out there, talked a lot about different stuff. I've, read a little bit of like Socrates or Aristotle and Plato type kind of stuff, but really haven't gone too much farther out of that, besides like minor touches on different kind of concepts of, nihilism and what is, the concept of what if there is no fucking meaning to the universe and anything or anything? And what does that mean?
That brings up a good point, something that I wanted to kind of mention from my perspective anyway, and what I see philosophy as is the why of life, because you brought up, for example, Josh, meaning. History tells us, for example, throughout human history and the history of the universe, what has happened. Science tends to tell us how it happened. Philosophy is the why it happened, or why it is happening, and what it means, if it means anything.
Or at least what we think why it means.
Yeah, what we think why is why. It sounds like all three of us care, at least, and are interested.
Yeah, I mean,
so that's a good starting point, because
we did start
it would
a show.
Be rough if we didn't care.
Yeah. We're starting. You might have the devil's advocate that's like, well, philosophy, man, it's the bullshit.
Make
okay, we can cut that out. Sorry, God, sorry, humans. Sorry.
No, it's what we do.
It's actually really
it's better
good.
To free flow and have to edit later than have to be overly.
Well, it's also really good to discuss this, because the difficulty of setting this up, it had its own trials and tribulations, and we're going to be going through some trials and tribulations with this hot sauce.
That's right.
And I really liked the idea of, well, we're all into spicy except for Josh, I guess.
But we're getting him into spicy.
We're getting you into spicy, and hopefully, anybody listening into spicy.
So I guess one point that we can just kind of talk about for this intro sort of episode is what the point of philosophy should be, in our opinions. We might disagree. Is it just random talking for the sake of it? Is it the pursuit of meaning? Should it have some tangible benefit to other people? For example, I'll just bring up, because I consider myself a practicing Roman Stoic, which we'll talk about Stoicism at some point. But one of their primary philosophers, Seneca, said that philosophy should help people. Essentially, philosophy was the first iteration of self-help in human history, that it should make people better. It shouldn't just be for academic pursuit or just for the fun of it. It should actually provide tangible assistance. Yeah, or just entertainment. It's fine if it is those things as well, but it shouldn't be just those things. And I tend to kind of lean towards that way. Like when we're looking at, is there meaning in the universe? If so, how do we define it? What does it mean in that sense? It should provide some kind of benefit to each of us, that pursuit, and as well as any answers that we might get to.
Yeah.
I'm diving for more space.
Yeah, I feel like that's the case here. I would love for this to help somebody. Whether even if it's just entertainment, because honestly, entertainment, I mean, speaking philosophically, can also be a good form of help, self-help, just decompression or whatever that I know I definitely need after setting this up. That's an inside joke, I guess. What about you, Josh?
I think philosophy is something that's just embedded in the basic concept of what we are as beings, like as humans, because we have higher levels of thought. Like, this is something that, regardless of whether you practice philosophy or not, I think everybody is always wondering, what the fuck is this universe that I'm in, and why does this exist? And even people who just do their normal activities, I think, are all questioning the universe around them to a certain level. And I think that that's kind of like the base of philosophy, is this idea of questioning what's going on, trying to figure out and understand the universe around you. It's the foundation of science. It's the foundation of theology. It's like the basis of what we are as higher level thinking beings, that we're like trying to figure out how to do stuff. And then what you do with that, you can like do different levels of different things that are much, but all of it comes from the basis of, what the fuck is this? Like,
absolutely, Josh. I really like the thought of, so one of the things that I may have mentioned, so I mentioned earlier that I feel like most of my philosophy days were a long time ago, and it's been a very long time since I've done any any sort of discussion like this. And when I did it back then, it helped me form myself, my being, creating, who I am today, because I would reject certain principles or certain ways of thinking, or things that were forced upon me when I was growing up, because, when you're a child or a teenager in your formative years, you usually have an outer influence that's, sort of pushing you or driving you towards a certain way of being. And I think a lot of the reason why I really like philosophy is because it allowed me to question that and realize that what was being pushed on me was not what was for me. If that makes sense.
Makes perfect sense. And it's important to examine and re-examine our beliefs all the time.
Exactly.
And one of the things that I personally love about philosophy is the emphasis on you don't necessarily need someone else to tell you what to think, or to tell you that your beliefs are wrong, to help you challenge them. You can challenge your own beliefs anytime that you want. And in fact, most philosophy is someone considering, okay, how am I wrong? What things am I being stupid about? And even when you develop some kind of philosophy, it's a lifelong struggle of, but am I missing something? Are my limited human abilities to perceive and sense the world around me, if there even is a world around me, another topic we'll get to at some point, but are these things limitations that prevent you from even being able to form opinions? What do you even believe about that? And you can challenge those things about yourself at any given time. My fear, to go back to what Josh said a little bit earlier, is I don't know how many people are actually having those thoughts or conversations that often. I hope it's everyone. I would hope that everyone does that. And that's certainly my, the answer to who should care for philosophy. My answer would be everyone should be having those thoughts and questions, because we only live, we have this limited time on this planet. It would just be beneficial to all of us to know why, or at least for us why, and if it means anything. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. But we have to have those conversations and thoughts and opinions for life to even approach fulfillment.
Yeah.
I would say that just from my sampling of people that I've gone around and just talked to random, people all over the Midwest, all the way down to Louisiana. I think that there's a sampling out there of people that are very much into the concepts of talking about what's going on. And I think there's a lot of people who don't want to talk about what's going on. And I think that humans in general are going to be people who are going to, have this concept of trying to figure out what is going on. And sometimes they'll just latch on to things that make it a lot easier. But then we all believe in something. And we have to contemplate that concept of what we believe is going on, no matter what, even if you keep on coming to the same conclusion because it's very easy. I feel that people are willing to have, which is why we have religion and concepts of, society and working together. If we were just at the base level of wisdom and knowledge and concept, higher level thinking, we wouldn't create the societies that we do. And that all comes from the basis of, I feel like, what is philosophy? Why do we do what we do? Why do we work together? Why do we believe in virtue and honor and wisdom? Why does this even matter? We could just eat food, breed. We were actually a very successful hunter-gatherer society. We decided not to do that.
And for some, eat food and breed might be, their thing.
It's true. But yeah, we were a hunter-gatherer species for a long time, a lot longer than we haven't been.
Mm-hmm.
So that is definitely
a fairly new phenomenon.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that introduces a lot of not being that now introduces a lot of things contrary to our intrinsic nature, right? And also just that since we're not hunter gatherers, we can choose that we have more time and more resources within ourselves to contemplate things, because you're not constantly struggling to live. Some people still are. And that's another thing too, another probably topic that we could talk about in the future. In that the disparity between, someone that can create a podcast about philosophy and someone that has to just survive day to day, because it still happens. But
it happens a lot. Although I think over human history, the global trend has been that everyone collectively is getting better off, getting richer.
Yeah.
There's less societal problems. Overall, we still have a lot of ways, a lot of work to do and a long way to go. Like you said, there's still people that can't put food on the table. We're not there, obviously, but by and large, we're on an arc that's going in a good direction. Mm-hmm. Although those are all things that we can talk about in a future episode too. It's all fascinating, all part of the human condition that apparently we all are forced to share.
Chained to. We're these mortal coils.
Excellent. And as for the particulars, we'll dive into those episode by episode. We're going to be talking about a different philosophical concept or problem for every episode, with also different hot sauces every time. Speaking of sauces, let's get into how we like the ones that we had today. So as a reminder, for Sam and I, it's the Tabasco Scorpion, and for Josh, it's the Louisiana.
So I was really happy with the Louisiana. Very, very tasty. Not too hot. I'm interested to see if I can get to the point where I'm actually taking what you guys are doing, because there is a different level in hotness of like.
There is.
I mean, basically, you guys are 1,000 times Scoville higher than what we are, or what I am.
Kind of.
It's definitely work to build tolerance, but it is possible. My wife, for example, hates spicy food, and just over time has kind of just built up and built up and built up to where now anytime I get a new sauce, she at least tries it. And some of them hurt, but she recovers eventually. So if you want to get there, I think we can get you there. It's just going to take some doing.
Yeah, it will take a little bit of time.
I like the Scorpion Tabasco. I'm a fan of it. It's a little bit vinegary for me as a day-to-day sauce,
which is
but a lot less so actually than
Tabasco.
I was gonna say, yeah, a lot less vinegary than Tabasco normally.
The regular Tabasco.
I like it a lot better than normal Tabasco.
Yeah, it has a really good flavor. I like, and it's. I'm assuming Scorpion means it's with Scorpion Moruga.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
Actually, my favorite comment that I've ever seen on the internet ever about this sauce was that it's hotter than you would ever imagine Tabasco could be, and also milder than you would ever imagine a Scorpion-based sauce could be.
Yeah, right, because I've had... Didn't we ate actual Scorpion?
Yeah, we've eaten Scorpions
peppers,
for sure.
Yeah, and so, yeah, it has a definitely good kick to it and a really good flavor. It tastes way better than regular Tabasco sauce.
There's no comparison.
Right, and I will say it, too, about what Josh has. Louisiana is, like, one of my go-tos for, like, adding flavor to something. Mm-hmm. Not as much the spice side of things, but it's like if something's like maybe it's already got a little bit of kick to it, but it doesn't have the right flavor, I can add. Maybe because it adds a lot of acid, I think. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I like this Scorpion Tabasco.
It's good,
and I barely like regular Tabasco. Like it's the flavor of regular Tabasco. It has its place.
I would actually say that. For me, at least, if I'm like at a restaurant and my options are eat this food with no hot sauce or eat Tabasco, I have to think about it.
Yeah, give it.
And usually that's not even a thought in my mind whether or not to put hot sauce on something. And with Tabasco, I have to think about it first. So
yeah, if there's Tapatio or Cholula or something there, I would just grab it.
Easy.
Boom.
Yeah,
because it's got a good flavor.
That's right.
So what's the like Scoville then on this? I wouldn't think it's that high.
It's not that high. I think it's probably the mildest thing that we have on the books for you and I. It sits somewhere between 23 and 33,000 Scovilles.
Yeah, so it's like eating a regular jalapeno by itself.
I think jalapenos are less.
Well, maybe
by
closer,
maybe
Serrano.
Serrano.
Okay, so
Serrano's
maybe
might
closer
get
to like
that
taking a bite out
range.
of a Serrano. Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is pretty spicy.
Which is pretty spicy for
or an El Pato.
general Alpedo peppers.
It's
pretty spicy for a general sort of flavor, but pretty mild when you're considering that it's got scorpion going on.
Yeah.
Because scorpions are very hot. On the other hand, Louisiana sauce is around 450. For comparison.
A lot easier.
It's
a lot easier to like not like making. It didn't make like. I mean, it got you hot. You know, you can feel it.
This definitely got me hot. I can feel it. It's just I can function still relatively fine, and it fades pretty quickly when it when it comes down to it.
Yeah, it doesn't last very long, which is okay. Maybe a stark contrast from our next sauce. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert, in the next episode, things are going to get spicy.
Spicy. Because this is Spicy Thoughts.
This is Spicy Thoughts.
Stay spicy.
See, that was beautiful. That was beautiful.
That's it. Okay,
Cut
we
and
marked
print.
the delay.
Thank you for listening to Spicy Thoughts. You can find us on YouTube at Spicy Thoughts Podcast. Contact us with your spicy inquiries at spicythoughts@strcast.com. Created by Devin, Steele, and Samson, Lancaster.
Well, no, that was hot. Oh. Is it not hot? Is that supposed to be hot?
Don't stop recording. Hold on.
Is it supposed to be hot, though?
Wisconsin is coming out.
It's coming out hard.
He's like, whoa, that's hot. Oh, don't you know?
Sounds like my grandma.
Pepper sauce, Tabasco pepper